A good chef won't burn your steak, so why does a coffee maker burn your beans? Here, we'll deconstruct the science and reveal the true history of coffee in this series, Anatomy of Flavour. Welcome to Anatomy of Flavour, brought to you by Specialty Roasters, where we connect the craft of coffee with a cup in your hands. I'm Jared King, your navigator on this journey of taste, for those with good taste. Think about a top-tier steakhouse. If you drop a few $100s on a prime, dry-aged Wagyu, what are you expecting? You're expecting the chef's absolute precision. You want that perfect Maillard reaction, that caramelized crust and that beautiful, pink, tender center. You're not just paying for the food, you're paying for the soul of the ingredient. But imagine you're the chef and the meat on your counter is, let's say, questionable. Maybe it's past its prime, maybe it's just completely tasteless. At that point, you've only got one option. You cook it for 5 more minutes. You know, just in case. You char the hell out of it, but you market it as the bold choice, or the ultimate man's steak. You label it not for the weak, implying that if you don't order it, maybe you're just not strong enough to handle it. In a professional kitchen, extra well done is really just code for, I have something to hide. When it comes to coffee, we kind of do the same thing. We would never accept a burnt steak at a restaurant, yet when we sit down for a cup of coffee, we'll gladly accept beans that are black, oily, and charcoal bitter. But we call it strong. Why is it that we're so demanding with our food, but so forgiving with our coffee? Well, today, we're going to deconstruct that collective fantasy known as strength. To dissect what many call burnt coffee, we must understand the 2 acoustic milestones that happen during roasting, the cracks. These aren't just sounds, they're the heartbeat of the bean's transformation. The first crack is a purely physical reaction, much like popcorn. As the internal moisture turns to high-pressure steam, it violently forces its way out, causing the cell walls to split apart with a distinct snapping sound. For specialty coffee, this is our finish line. We stop here to preserve the delicate acidity and unique character that nature worked so hard to create. Those dark, oily, commercial beans you see in the supermarket are pushed far beyond the finish line, into the second crack. This is a vastly different and far more aggressive phenomenon. At this stage, it's not water vapor anymore. It's the intense heat fracturing the woody cellulose matrix of the bean itself. This structural breakdown acts like a pump, forcing the internal lipids, the coffee oils, to coat the surface in that glossy sheen you're so familiar with. This isn't bold roasting, it's structural collapse. The goal of this approach is to exchange complex flavors with the uniform, intense notes of carbonisation and caramelization. It's the ultimate cloak, and we use it to hide or obscure the defects and lack of quality in lower grade beans. If you burn the hell out of it, no one can taste the rubbish underneath. Look at the oil on this bean. This isn't a sign of freshness. It's the coffee's insides leaking out. Once these lipids hit the air, they undergo lipid oxidization, creating that rancid, fishy bitterness. That is the bitter you're actually tasting. Now look at a high-quality, optimized roast. The appearance is matte, structure is intact, and the flavor is locked inside. That is a bean whose soul is very much alive. To understand why we accept these burnt, oily beans today, we need to look to the ocean, specifically to the ocean of the 1700s. Back then, coffee didn't travel in climate-controlled shipping containers. It traveled in the bellies of leaky wooden sailing ships. To go from Indonesia or Brazil to London or Paris didn't take a few days. It took 6 to 9 months. Imagine those green coffee beans sitting in a dark, damp hull, marinating in salt air, tropical heat, and the constant moisture of the sea. During those long months, something happened to the coffee. It wasn't just sitting there. It was undergoing a slow, accidental fermentation, a kind of unintentional aging. By the time the ships docked in Europe, the beans were no longer fresh. They developed an earthy, musty, heavy, fermented funk. But for over a century, this was the only coffee Europe knew. This defect became the standard, and people began to believe that coffee was supposed to taste heavy, dull, and slightly rotten. Then, in the mid-1800s, came the Industrial Revolution, steamships, and the opening of the Suez Canal. Travel times were cut in half, and for the first time in history, coffee arrived in Europe alive. It was fresh, it was vibrant, it had beautiful, bright acidity and floral notes. And the public? They hated it. To a palate conditioned by 100 years of decayed beans, this fresh coffee tasted sour and thin. To them, it didn't taste like real coffee. So, roasters of the time faced a massive crisis. How do you sell high-quality, fresh coffee to a public that craves old, slightly rotten coffee? Their solution was as brilliant as it was deceptive: carbonisation. They realised that if they cranked up the heat and literally burnt the beans to a crisp, they could kill those vibrant, acidic notes and replace them with a heavy, smoky bitterness. It wasn't about making coffee taste like an old, wet ship again. It was about mimicking that heavy body that people had grown to love. They realised that carbonised bitterness could act as a proxy for the thickness of those old fermented beans. They turned a cover-up for bad logistics into a premium roasting tradition. So, when you see those dark, oily beans today, you're not looking at dark roast as a culinary choice. You're looking at the ghost of 18th century logistics. You're looking at a 200-year-old response to a shipping problem that hasn't existed for generations. We've spent 2 centuries perfecting a lie just to hide the most basic truth of this industry, that coffee is actually a fruit. And it's time we started drinking it like one. Now that we've exposed the science behind that oily sheen and historical errors that led us here, we can finally start talking about the industry's favorite buzzword: strength. In the commercial world, you've been conditioned to believe that strong coffee is a brew that tastes like a burnt log. But let's be clear, that's not strength. Strength doesn't come from compromise. It comes from concentration. Think of it like a fine, single malt whiskey. The power comes from the depth of the spirit's character, not the degree of the fire used to char the barrel. Coffee is, at its heart, the seed of a tropical fruit. And in 2026, we have the technology and the roasting precision to actually taste that fruit. Bright, floral, and citrusy, without the mask of carbonisation. But I know the challenge. How are you supposed to find that truth among thousands of roasters without becoming a full-time scientist yourself? Our mission at Specialty Roasters is simple. We connect the craft of exceptional roasters with those who truly appreciate a great cup. For Drop 001, we partner with an artisan who refuses to take the easy way out. He optimizes every single bean to its absolute peak using the labor-intensive method of post-roast blending. This means that every component is roasted to its specific sweet spot before being combined. It's a level of surgical precision where no bean is ever sacrificed for another, ensuring that you taste the ingredient, not the compromise. We've curated Drop 001 to guide your palate through the week. For that reliable daily comfort, you'll find our classic blend of chocolate and nut, 75% Brazil, 25% Colombia. But if you're looking for a change of pace, we've also included a milder Colombian showcase, rich in delicate floral and toffee notes. And for your weekend ritual, the Ethiopia Anaerobic Washed. When brewed as a cold pour-over, it reveals an incredible peach trio. The notes of fuzzy skin, juicy flesh, and sweet pit. It's an experience that truly deconstructs the logic of taste. In Drop 001, you'll find 3 distinct roasts, 2 of our signature home blends, and 1 single origin roast. So stop guessing. This is the absolute truth of flavour. Welcome to the Navigator's journey. That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had fun and maybe learned a thing or two. Next time someone tells you they like strong coffee, you might even say, but have you seen that Anatomy of Flavour video? In our next episode, we'll deconstruct the coffee belt to see how geography dictates the flavour in your cup. Like and subscribe to stay on course. I'm Jared, your navigator in these dark waters.